Okay, let's go through the classwork on reviewing the normal distribution. What do you need open as you listen to this lecture video? You're going to want the Minitab file attached to this item. It is called 292 underscore lecture 1b. .mpjx, and what you should see are dates and 4 stocks. So the Dow Jones Market, GoPro, Nike, and Exxon. And you also want the Word document open, which is 292 underscore lecture 1 CW. All right, and when you open it up, you should see where I'm asking immediately for some probabilities of z-scores. All right, so let's just go through this. And again, what I recommend is that you may not want to just listen to me outright. You may want to work on pieces of this and then turn this video back on and listen to how I got the answer and check your answers. I feel like if you can get through this classwork fine, then you should be ready to start the homework to prepare you for the quiz. All right, so let's start here with the probability that z is less than negative 1.26. All right, so we are given a z-score and we want to find a probability. So we go over to Minitab and we want to go into distribution plot, display probability. All right, we are dealing with z-scores, so our mean is 0 and our standard deviation is 1. We are given a specified x value or z-score. We want the less than probability, which is left tail, and we type in negative 1.26. All right, our probability answer is this decimal, which we are going to write as a percent rounded to the 100th. And so our answer is 10.38%. All right, let's do the same for the probability that z is greater than 0.83. So we go into make similar. All right, now we want greater than, so we change to right tail, and we type in our z-score of 0.83, saying OK, and we get our probability answer here of 20.33%. Okay. And now we want the probability that z is in between these two negative z-scores. So we go into make similar. Again, leaving mean and standard deviation on 0, 1. We choose middle. All right, and we first type in the smallest z-score, which is negative 2.56. And then our larger one, which is negative 0.05. And we say OK. And we get a probability of 47.48%. All right, and now we have a little bit of a tricky one. We want the probability that z is less than negative 1.15 and the probability that z is greater than 2.31. There's a couple ways we could work this problem. I'm going to use the addition way. So we've got two problems here where we are going to want to add the probabilities. So first we find the probability that z is less than, so left tail, negative 1.15. All right, and that answer is 12.51%. And then we also want the probability that z is greater than, so right tail, of 2.31. And we are going to add these probabilities, and we're going to add 1.04%, and that is going to give us 13.55% as our final answer. Okay. Question 5, using the Minitab file, describe the shape of the distribution for all stocks. All right, so here we are going to learn how to do histograms. All right, histograms give us shape. All right, so let's take a look at our data here. Let's start with Dow Jones. All right, so we want a histogram of Dow Jones. We are going to go under Graphs to Histogram. We are going to choose Simple. And we are going to select Dow Jones as our Y variable and say OK. All right, so looking at this distribution, all right, of Dow Jones closing prices, what might we say? Well, this one is not clear cut. It does appear there's some kind of tail over here to the left. So we could say maybe skewed left. I would also accept, maybe no identifiable shape. So again, I would take either no shape or skewed left, since we seem to have a tail over on this side of the distribution. All right, let's do the same thing for GoPro. And this one is obvious, all right? So what kind of distribution do you see here? We definitely see a tail on the right. So GoPro would be skewed right, okay? All right, let's do the same for Nike. All right, so holy cow, what do we see here? We see closings here, our stock prices here, and we see stock prices here. This would definitely be no identifiable shape because we have this super large discontinuity here in the middle of prices. All right, if you have not taken finance yet or know much about statistics, what happened here is that the stock price was up here around 120 and it split down to $60. So what does that mean? It means that one share at $120 became two shares at $60. All right, so that is what has happened here to Nike. But again, as far as what you, the student, would say, you would simply say there's no identifiable shape to the distribution. All right, let's do one more. Let's do Exxon. All right, and what do we see here with Exxon? I hope that you are thinking this does look pretty symmetric or bell-shaped. For the purpose of the rest of this classwork, we are going to approach Exxon as if it is normally distributed. We do see the bulk of the distribution here in the middle, and then it seems to symmetrically somewhat tail off. All right, so going back over to our classwork now. We are on question 6. So for Exxon, what is the probability the stock price is less than $76? All right, we want to find the probability that the price is less than $76. What are we going to need to answer this question? All right, so again, if we go over into Minitab to our display probability, what do we need immediately? Aha, we need the mean and standard deviation of Exxon, and we don't know that. We just have the raw data. All right, so how do we get descriptive statistics in Minitab? And the answer is we go under Summary to Descriptive Statistics. All right, our variable here is Exxon. And just note that we can select what descriptive stats we want. All right, you may want to see the range, you may want to see the mode, and so forth. I'm just going to leave it on the default. You can also get a histogram here or a box plot, as you may recall from Intro to Stats. But again, I'm just going to put in Exxon and say, okay, I only need the mean and the standard deviation. So here is the mean at 82 and some change. Here is the standard deviation at 6.2855. All right, so I make a note to myself. I write down on my paper that my mean is 82.9245. My standard deviation is 6.2855. All right, and now I go into probability, distribution plot, display probability. I put that mean in, 82.9245. I put the standard deviation in of 6.2855. All right, and going back over to the classwork, we are interested in less than $76. So we have a specified X value, less than, and type in 76. All right, and what we see here is that our probability is 13.53%. All right, we want to do the same thing with make similar for more than 92, so that's a right tail on $92, and we get that probability is 7.44%. And then lastly, we're interested in between $80 and $85, so we do make similar again, choosing middle and typing in 80 and then 85. And we get this probability is 30.85%. All right, so we have found some probability, so now let's invert that. We want to find some values of Exxon stock. So number 7, what daily stock price for Exxon would put the day in the top 5% for prices? All right, so we can go into make similar, all right, because we really don't want to type this mean and standard deviation again. All right, and let's see here, we now have a specified probability, and we are given top 5%, so right tail, and 5% is the default, so we can leave it there. And now remember, this is where we have to be very careful about rounding. We're going to round to the 100th because that's what makes sense for money, because that's how our cents are. All right, and remember, if we're on the right side of the distribution, we round these up. All right, and so our answer is $93.27. All right, and for problem 8, what daily stock price for Exxon would put the day in the bottom 10% for prices? So we go into make similar, changing from right tail to left tail because left tail means bottom, and we change our probability to 0.10. And remember now, on the left side of the distribution, we round these down. So in other words, that 9 does not round up the 6. Our final answer is $74.86. All right, and let's do one more, making it up on the fly here just to practice central limit theorem. All right, for random samples of size, let's say 32, what is the probability that the, let's see, sample mean is, let's say, less than $80. All right. So we go into make similar. All right. So our mean stays the same. All right. We have an X value, and we're interested in less than $80. But what's the problem here? Our standard deviation has changed because of the central limit theorem. All right, it's no longer 6.2855, it's now 6.2855 divided by the square root of 32. All right, so we want to go over to Excel or grab our calculator. All right, and we're going to say equals 6.2855 divided by the square root of 32. Oops. All right, and we copy this rather large number over and say okay. All right, and what we get here is a very small probability of 0.424%. Okay, and that's a, you know, again, I think that if you can do this classwork without problem, you're ready for the homework, continue practicing finding probabilities and values in the homework. There are no central limit theorem problems in the homework, so make sure you understand central limit theorem for the quiz. And then also, here is a hint for you for this week's quiz. Make sure you have reviewed the empirical rule for finding normal probabilities. All right, so just go back to those 291 lectures and watch the video on the empirical rule. All right, and if you have any questions, as always, reach out to me. All right, thank you.